There is one Florida town where the average home insurance premium just hit $9,400 a year. Another where condo values dropped almost 10% in 12 months. A third where sellers now outnumber buyers by a ratio this state has never seen before. And another where foreclosure filings just hit their highest level in a decade. And it is not just one town. Across Florida, the housing map is cracking in places nobody saw coming. Markets where bidding wars once lasted 90 minutes now sit unsold for 140 days. Coastal towns where premiums quintupled in 5 years are watching deals collapse at the closing table because no underwriter will sign the paper. Condo buildings Floridians used to brag about are getting six-figure assessment letters in the mail like overdue parking tickets. One town on this list has homes sitting on the market longer than the average dating relationship. In this countdown, we are exposing the 10 Florida towns Americans have stopped buying homes in. Specific places, specific numbers, and the one structural reason underneath. Subscribe before your zip code lands on the next list. Let's break it down. Number 10, Jacksonville. The boomtown that quietly stopped booming. Jacksonville was Florida's safer bet. Cheaper than Miami, less hurricane exposed than Tampa, anchored by the port and a defense base. For 3 years it worked, then the math caught up. The Jacksonville median home price sits around $308,000, flat, year over year per Redfin. Active inventory has climbed roughly 22%, the steepest rise in Florida. Days on market past 65. New construction keeps undercutting resale by $20,000 to $30,000 a home. One Reddit homeowner posted, "We listed in October, 3 price drops, still nothing." Buying in Jacksonville today is like showing up to a party that everyone else just left. Picture this. You drive through a master-planned community in St. Johns County. Half the houses on the cul-de-sac have for sale signs. Builders are offering rate buy-downs, closing credits, free appliances. The seller next door undercuts the builder. The builder undercuts the seller. Nobody wins. Jacksonville is not failing because of the city. It is failing because the houses arrived after the buyers left. Number 9, Lakeland, the Orlando overflow town that became overflow with no overflow. Lakeland sits on the Interstate 4 corridor between Tampa and Orlando, and during the pandemic, it became the cheap alternative for buyers priced out of both. Median prices climbed roughly 40% from 2020 to 2022. Then the rate hikes hit. The Lakeland median home price is around $304,000, growth flat year over year per Zillow. Inventory has climbed about 18%. Roughly 19% of listings carry a price cut. Days on market past 70. Buying in Lakeland today is like getting handed a discount coupon for a store that already lowered its prices twice. Sharp contrast. Lakeland and Ocala both pitched themselves as cheap inland alternatives to the coast. Ocala kept supply tight. Lakeland did not. Today, Ocala still appreciates modestly while Lakeland slides. Same logic, 2 outcomes. Lakeland is not failing because the location got worse. It is failing because the price stopped making sense. Number 8, Northport. The pandemic hot zone that flipped to ice in 18 months. Northport was the fastest growing city in America by population in 2022. Builders flooded in, prices climbed roughly 60% in 3 years, and out-of-state buyers paid cash sight unseen. Then Hurricane Ian hit Charlotte County in September 2022, and the insurance market for that corridor never recovered. The Northport median home price is around $410,000, down roughly 8% from peak per Redfin. Inventory has more than doubled in 2 years. Days on market past 90. Insurance premiums for older homes have tripled in some zip codes. Buying in Northport today is like inheriting a beach house that came with a stack of certified mail. Picture this. You drive through a quiet Northport subdivision 2 years after Ian. 3 out of every 5 houses on one block have for sale signs. 2 of them still have hurricane shutter scars on the trim. The asking prices keep dropping anyway because the insurance quotes do not. Northport is not failing because the homes got worse. It is failing because the storm rewrote the math. Number 7, Bradenton, the Gulf Coast retirement dream where the dream now comes with a structural inspection bill. Bradenton spent the pandemic as the quieter sibling to Sarasota. Retirees flooded in for cheap Gulf access. Then the post-Surfside structural inspection laws started biting on every condo over 30 years old, and Bradenton has a lot of them. The Bradenton median home price is around $423,000, down about 3% year over year per Redfin. Condo inventory in Manatee County has climbed past 15 months of supply, more than double the balanced market threshold. Special assessments on older buildings range from $20,000 to $100,000 per unit. About 23% of listings carry a price cut. One Reddit poster wrote, "Reserve study came back, $42,000 per owner. Half the building wants to sell. Nobody is buying." Picture this. You walk into an open house in a 40-year-old Bradenton condo. The agent hands you the disclosure packet. Reserve study assessment, $48,000. Roof replacement, $30,000. Concrete restoration to be determined. The unit price seemed fair until the assessments were added. They always are. Bradenton is not failing because the Gulf got smaller. It is failing because the buildings got older and the law caught up. If you made it this far, you are paying more attention than most. Hit subscribe before we get into the top 6, because the next deep dive we are working on covers the Florida zip codes mortgage lenders are quietly walking away from. Let's keep going. Number 6, Port Charlotte, the Charlotte harbor town where insurance underwriters now decide who gets to be a homeowner. Port Charlotte sits directly in the path Hurricane Ian carved through Charlotte County in 2022, and the insurance market never came back. The Port Charlotte median home price hovers near $350,000, down roughly 5% year over year. Days on market past 100 for many older homes. Inventory up roughly 30% year over year. At least 4 major carriers have stopped writing new homeowner policies in coastal zip codes since 2023. Buying in Port Charlotte today is like passing a credit check, getting approved for the loan, and losing the deal because no insurance company will sign the paper. Picture this. You are under contract on a charming 3-bedroom on a Port Charlotte Canal Front Street, closing in 18 days. 6 insurance carriers decline. The state's last resort insurer wants $12,000 per year with a $40,000 wind deductible. Your lender requires bindable coverage. The deal collapses. You watch the same thing happen to the next buyer 20 days later. Port Charlotte is not failing because of one storm. It is failing because the carriers walked and the buyers ran the numbers. Number 5, Lehigh Acres, the Fort Myers spillover town where foreclosure filings just hit a 10-year high. Lehigh Acres has been the cheap alternative to Fort Myers for 2 decades. Big lots, modest homes, working-class buyers, lots of new construction. During the pandemic, prices climbed close to 50%. Then Ian hit Lee County in 2022, the insurance market hardened, and the buyer pool shrunk dramatically. The Lehigh Acres median home price is around $315,000, down about 4% year over year. Lee County recorded over 4,000 foreclosure filings in the most recent reporting period, the highest in roughly a decade. Inventory has climbed about 28%. About 1 in 5 listings carries a price cut. Buying in Lehigh Acres today is like buying a lottery ticket where the prize is a hurricane deductible. Sharp contrast. Lehigh Acres and Cape Coral are both Lee County. Both got Ian. Cape Coral has Gulf access and a national brand. Lehigh Acres has neither. Same storm, 2 different speeds of pain. Lehigh Acres is not failing because the homes lost value first. It is failing because the buyers lost coverage first. Number 4, Sarasota, the cultural jewel of the Gulf Coast where the auction houses still sell fine art and the condo buildings cannot give units away. Sarasota was the post-pandemic crown jewel for snowbirds. Theaters, museums, beaches, restaurants. Prices climbed roughly 45% from 2020 to 2022. Then the same triple punch hit: insurance, structural, climate. The Sarasota median home price is around $510,000, down roughly 3% year over year. Condo inventory sits at over 14 months of supply. Approximately 24% of listings carry price cuts. Days on market past 80 for many properties. Buying a Sarasota condo today is like buying a season pass to a theater that is still building the lobby. Picture this. You walk into a Sarasota condo open house overlooking the bay, hardwood floors, Gulf view, walk to St. Armand's. The agent mentions the recent reserve study, $80,000 per owner. The buyer pool just shrunk by half. The seller is still asking peak pricing. The math no longer agrees. Sarasota is not failing because the culture stopped being beautiful. It is failing because the buyers stopped being captive. If you are still watching this far in, you are looking for the real answers, not the highlight reel. Hit subscribe so the next deep dive on Florida's quiet exodus markets lands in your feed. Now the top 3. Number 3, Miami Beach. The address every Florida real estate ad has used for 40 years, where condos sit empty for half the year and special assessments outpace rental income. Miami Beach is the architectural museum of the post-Surfside era. Older oceanfront towers, deferred maintenance, 6-figure assessments arriving by certified mail every quarter. The Miami Beach median condo price hovers around $650,000, values down roughly 9% year over year per Redfin. Condo inventory has climbed past 16 months of supply. Special assessments on aging buildings range from $40,000 to over $150,000 per unit. The new statewide structural reserve laws keep adding line items to monthly homeowner association bills. Buying a Miami Beach condo today is like signing up for a gym membership where the fee includes rebuilding the gym. Picture this. You are under contract on a 2-bedroom in a 1970s Miami Beach tower. Closing in 3 weeks. The homeowner association sends a letter. Special assessment for structural reserves, $92,000, due within 90 days. Then a second letter arrives. Concrete restoration, another $40,000. You walk. 6 other buyers walked from the same building this month. Miami Beach is not failing because the ocean got smaller. It is failing because the buildings got older, and the math no longer hides. Number 2, Naples, the wealthy retirement enclave where the wealth is now sitting on the sidelines waiting for prices to fall further. Naples was the gold standard of Florida luxury for 2 decades. Highest median prices in the state, lowest density, deepest cash buyer pool. Then the rate hikes, the insurance crisis, and the post-Ian hardening of Southwest Florida insurance markets all hit at once. The Naples median home price is around $740,000, down roughly 6% year over year. Days on market in Collier County past 100 for many high-end listings. About 26% of listings carry a price cut. Insurance premiums on waterfront homes have hit $15,000 to $25,000 annually. Buying in Naples today is like sitting at a luxury table watching the wealthy diners quietly leave one by one. Picture this. You walk into a Naples open house off 5th Avenue. The home is stunning. The list price is $1.2 million, already reduced from $1.4 million. The agent mentions the seller would entertain any reasonable offer. Reasonable in Naples used to mean a bidding war. Now it means a discount. Naples is not failing because the luxury disappeared. It is failing because the buyers learned how to wait. Before we get to number 1, this is the Florida town that makes the rest of this list look like a warm-up. If you are still here, hit subscribe before this town's name shows up in your local news. Now, the worst one. Number 1, Cape Coral, the Gulf Coast town that just became the worst performing major housing market in America. Cape Coral spent the pandemic as the headline migration story. Big lots, Gulf access, low prices, no state income tax. Builders flooded in, out-of-state buyers paid over asking sight unseen. Then Hurricane Ian made landfall in 2022, and the math broke in every direction at once. The Cape Coral median home price is around $375,000, down 9.6% year over year per Redfin. the steepest annual drop of any major metro in the United States. Inventory has more than tripled from 2021 levels. About 31% of listings carry a price cut. Days on market passed 120 for many homes. Insurance premiums for older homes have hit $8,000 to $12,000 annually. Foreclosure filings have climbed roughly 30% year over year. One Reddit homeowner posted, bought in 2022 for $480,000, just appraised at $410,000. Insurance went from $2,200 to $9,000, stuck. Picture this. You drive through a Cape Coral Canal neighborhood that was a bidding war zone in 2021. Today, every fifth house has a for sale sign. Half have been listed more than 90 days. A neighbor walks over and asks if you are a buyer. When you say yes, his face changes because his house is also for sale, and he is hoping you will look at it next. Cape Coral has every Florida problem at once: insurance hardening, post-Ian rebuild costs, pandemic oversupply, and a buyer pool that finally did the math. Cape Coral is not failing because one thing broke. It is failing because everything broke at the same time, and the buyers walked away first. So, there it is. 10 Florida towns where the for sale signs have stopped being a temporary inconvenience and started being a structural feature of the neighborhood. The unifying answer underneath every entry is the same. Florida's housing boom from 2020 to 2022 was priced for an assumption set that no longer exists. Cheap insurance, steady in-migration, structural integrity, and the assumption that climate would stay quiet. All four broke at once. The Florida towns rising in 2026 are the ones that never inflated, never priced themselves out of reach of the people who actually live there. Buyers right now are not on strike. They are running the math, reading the closing disclosure, asking what insurance costs before they ask what the kitchen looks like, and walking away when the numbers no longer agree. If your neighborhood made this list, drop a comment with the zip code and what you are seeing. The next deep dive on the Florida towns where renters are quietly out-earning the landlords is coming soon. We will see you in the next one.